What's up, guys? Welcome to Chasing Pelagics. My name is Jeff, and this is your SoCal fishing forecast for Thursday, July 7th. Quick look at our weather here. We've had this onshore action of wind turn on again, and it looks like we're going to have some variable conditions over the next couple days regarding cloud cover and potentially a little drizzle with the Yeti. So let's take a quick look at our current wind model here. We've got our weather picker right here, and last week we talked about the possibility of a hurricane and what that does to yellowfin. And sure enough, here it is. And you notice the last few days we've had a pretty good bump in our yellowfin count, and now looking at some Dorado as well. But looking out here, you'll notice that as this hurricane floats to the west, you got another one popping right again behind it. So let's see if this one comes true, but they're on a western trajectory, so it shouldn't have much effect on our weather up here. But again, we'll keep a close eye on it and see what happens. But getting back to our local wind conditions here, we'll leave this guy laid up right here. We'll call this the corner approximately. But quick look at Thursday. We've got some wind here on the outside, and this has been the condition pretty much forecasted as a trend. It ramps up to 18 knots briefly, and then starts slowing down again on Friday. A little bit of an eddy condition here. We'll see how this all plays out. Again, the direction of the wind here is the most important thing. And the more west it goes, the more wind swell it's going to drive, which could change our inner waters a lot and really make things fishable or not fishable. But here we go into Saturday. We get some ramping up winds. You can tell that yellow stuff out there. This is a lot nastier, and this usually drives a wind swell. So if you're fishing behind, let's say San Nick and San Clemente Island, you're going to be running into this stuff. And if we switch back over here to 17foot.com, looking at our marine forecast, again, Thursday, these are 30 to 60 nautical miles out to San Clemente Island. This is not counting behind the island, so this is going to count that gap where the stuff sneaks through between Catalina and San Clemente. But Thursday, 3 to 4 foot at 6 seconds. That's that nasty wind swell. Let's be close together. Probably going to keep a lot of the private boat guys off. Maybe some sport boats too. We'll see what happens. And then slows down Friday. West 2 to 3, 7 seconds. So starting to mellow out. And then west 2 to 3 at 9 seconds. More mellowing out. Saturday, much the same thing. And then as we get into Sunday, this thing cranks up again. 3 to 4 overnight, 3 to 4 again at 7 seconds, and then so on, 3 to 4 at 6 seconds, 3 to 4 at 7 seconds. So you're going to see how that little wind swell ramps up with that wind on the outside. So keep this in mind of what it's doing. But, generally speaking, we have this nice line right here. Let's use today. Today's a better example. Nice line right here of wind that's been blowing where the inner waters have not been having this causing any upwelling. So what's it's going to do is it's going to drive these outside water temperatures down while keeping this stuff here in the purple area basically the same. Switching back to our 8-day chart here on tipbreak.com. Fortunately, this marine layer has been blocking our satellites, more. So we still have some empty spots on the chart here, and switching to 1 day doesn't really change much of the story, but you can get an idea here. If we switch back again to 17foot.com, they have all the buoys listed up here at the top, and you can also click on them individually and see what's going on. So, for example, Tanner Bank here is going to drive us up into a new window here. You can go ahead and look at the water temp. We're already down to 62.4, and Cortez was a little bit lower. So we'll see what happens here, but basically, all these outer waters where we were seeing some of that bluefin last week that the tribute picked up on at Tanner and Cortez, they're seeing a little yellowtail and bluefin. The yellowtail will probably still hang out, but the bluefin are probably going to come back a little more east to probably the 381, Desperation, San Clemente Island area. So be on the lookout for that stuff. But generally, that's what's going to be happening here. And as that's been happening, our inner waters have been warming up. And we're getting fish drive up from the south into these warmer waters. Again, this darker orange red color is 72 to 74. And this is the anti-bluefin territory. This is all yellowfin territory. Kelp patty dorado, kelp patty yellowtail, they all love this stuff, but the bluefin don't. So you can find the bluefin mainly on the edges of the stuff or about to go to it. So but that's pretty much what's been going on for the most part as far as the trend. We'll get into actual reports as of the last few days. It's been a little tricky out there. Channel Islands, we still have a little bit of sea bass fishing going on. Spotty at times, bang or bust. Plenty of squid around from what I hear, so no trouble with that. Moving south, we had this cold body of water here, right off Orange County, and some of this fish that was off the Oceanside area, the 267, is now sliding up. It's been found mainly between the 14 and the Avalon Bank, right on this tip break right here. People are seeing lots of foamers all over the place. A lot of them are not participating or get skittish. So the strategy for these fish in this area really has been, if you can't get them to bite popper or a jig when casting out a foamer, or they won't really want to touch a kite. Some of them might be a little bit smaller grade. Guys have just been trolling Mad Max through them, and I've been picking up the onesie twosies in between the foamers, and that's been a pretty good strategy that's been working this week as well. Some of the stuff can be probably caught in spreader bars too, just depending on the size of the stinger. A smaller fish is not going to like that giant 13-inch squid stinger. So if you got some extra ones, maybe move down a couple sizes to like a 9 or a 10-inch, and maybe they'll play with that too. Catalina Island, pretty quiet. There's still an occasional sea bass being picked up at the east end. There is still squid around. The Carnage was selling squid over the weekend. They've gone back to Long Beach. Don't know if they're coming back out or not. Don't know if they have squid here as well with Nacho, but you can always call them or hail them on Channel 11. Sometimes they pick up, they don't answer the phone, but it is what it is. So, but there is squid around. You can still make it on the backside, and occasional sea bass being caught. Nothing like what we saw earlier in the season whatsoever. Yellowtail, again, very quiet around the island. You might pick up an occasional one. So if you want to spend some time looking around for them, now that the water's getting warm, I would suggest trolling some Rapalas or live mackerels, slow trolled. Usually you find the right conditions, troll that bait through there, and you might get one to pop up and react to it. So if you head to the island, again, might bring some bluefin gear for the stuff that's hanging on here. They were up at like 10 a.m. today. It didn't sound like a whole lot of them participated, but also you got to judge the skill level of what people are doing too. So we'll see what happens with that. Moving south to San Clemente Island, we have had good steady yellowtail action and occasional sea bass still. Pyramid Cove, the backside, if it's fishable with this wind, it's going to be a little bit tough. Some of the stuff might get turned over. So front side, Gold Bluff, and again, the Pyramid Head, have had some pretty good grade yellowtail. Things have been working there. Starting to finally turn into San Clemente Island for once. It's been a long few months. Finally starting to see those dividends pay out here on the stuff that's been hanging around. So again, front side, we do have some warmer waters here, but you come down to south end of the island, you're going to be approaching bluefin territory. So make sure you get the proper stuff on the boat and be prepared. You never know what you're going to run into. Let's talk about further south. There was a striped marlin sighting today on the 9. That's good news. I like fishing for those things if you can get them to cooperate. It is July, so it's about right on schedule, and that goes for the yellowfin and kelp patty stuff that's been popping up as well. We have seen a little bit of action around the 425 in regards to yellowfin. That's right on the edge of the canyon here, so good signs of that starting to pop up. And then further south, the double 220, 295. That's really, we need to switch to the chlorophyll chart to understand what things are going on down here. Let's go to the 8-day. Boom. So I talked about 425. We had these nice hard edges of chlorophyll here. Working down right around by the double 220, 295, and then down to the lower 500. These areas, again, are where you're probably going to find some of that yellowfin activity. And then you're going to start to find a lot more of the kelp patty yellowtail action, and Dorado mixed in together. Somewhere along this wind line here, as this stuff flows through with that wind. So if you get a little eddy, some of this might curve west, so you might find something here, but typically the further west you go, probably the more you're going to find. A lot of this yellowfin stuff has been caught on just blind jig strikes. You're not going to see any activity on the surface like you would with bluefin, typically trolling small feathers, like 6-inch ones, or any like machine lures. Again, just troll them your traditional style, closer to the boat, just outside the whitewater. A proper setup is just fine. No bluefin activity in this area. Mara's and Ensenada hasn't really posted any pictures of big bluefin in the last 5 days, so I think some of that stuff has just moved on or headed too far west for them to really fish it, which is really what I think is happening. So yeah, the yellowfin has really been in between 10 to 35 pounds, and Dorado has been, the typical smaller stuff, 4 to 12 pounds. You just don't know what you're going to run into. They're all kind of mixed up and mixed in. So super fun stuff. If you're fishing on a sport boat, again, you're not really going to see a lot of top action when it comes to yellowfin. These are blind strikes. A strategy that has worked for me in the past is as soon as those trollers go off, the school is on the back of the boat, right behind it. Slide out a live bait on the slide as fast as you can, and typically the deckhand is on the tank. They're going to shovel out a big scoop of bait right behind it too to try and bring the school to the back of the boat. So the quicker you get a bait out behind the boat, in the area where those trollers are, is your best chance to get bit, and that's usually what works best. Sometimes you'll get that onesie, twosie troll bite, you reel in the trollers and you got nothing else. It's because you didn't get that school on the boat as you drove over them, and then you have to circle back and try and find them and bait them again. Usually, just the quicker you can react and get a bait out when that stuff happens, is the faster you're going to get bit, and try and keep that school with the boat. Yellowfin fishing is a lot different than bluefin fishing. They're very reactionary. They don't care about the noise of the boat. In fact, they're enticed by the noise of the boat, and that same goes with Dorado as well. So typically, if you're not seeing the action, a big heavy scoop of chum around the boat should bring them up, and then usually they'll react on the surface and you'll get some boils on the bait. That's usually how it works best, and in my experience, once you get that chum going, they stay on the boat and keep that onesie twosie going, and they'll usually hang with you. And I've had days where you can do 7-hour drift and just hook as many as you want, break off as many as you want, and just have a killer day. So one stop could be all it takes for you to load the boat when it comes to that stuff. So be mindful of this chlorophyll curve here, going from the 425 upper finger back around. This is really, I think you see a lot more fish pile up in this zone. And then as the season goes on, the stuff will push up further north as well too. But as of right now, we're not really seeing much yellowfin north of the 425, 371 area. And going back to sea surface temperature chart, look at these areas of where the water is changing color and temperature, and that's where you're going to find these bluefin. Again, really that 70, 71 degree mark is really going to be west of there, and find them in that cooler water. So last known suspects were Tanner Cortez right on this side. A couple weeks before, we saw him down here below the island. Saw him at Desperation, and heading out to the 381. So this stuff I think is going to slide back to this edge here. So that's what you want to target. Probably going to find a good biomass of fish there. And then today, this stuff has been up here. Now this stuff up here, I don't think is going to last very long. So if you want to fish it close to home, get out there in the next day or two. This stuff's pretty protected from that wind, so you won't have much to worry about. But yeah, this stuff right here is not going to last very long based on these conditions. Further up, where would I start looking next? Well, you're going to start seeing some stuff probably come out the backside of the island like I was talking about. And then we've seen really good fish action on the 499 over the years. So if you're out messing around Catalina, you want to come take a peek. 12-mile run, not that far from the island. So good place to look. And then, we've had those really good views of the Osborne too. So this water starts to warm up. Osborne is another good place to look, and we'll see what happens from there. As far as the rest of the stuff, no one's really looking at San Nick or Santa Barbara. You might find an occasional sea bass or yellow at Santa Barbara, but Nick's been pretty much blown out with this wind, so we'll see what happens. But that's the story for now, and we'll keep an eye on the weather and see what happens. But can't catch them from the couch, boys, so get after them. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out our website and online store at chasingpelagics.com. And make sure you share the stoke.